Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play Team. This actual play uses the 7th edition Call of Cthulhu tabletop role-playing game rules by Chaosium. This actual play is performed by adults and in an adult setting. While we try very hard to stick to language for all ages, listeners should know that this podcast may include mature themes. All content, including names, places, events, companies, and etc., that may bear resemblance to entities living or dead, is strictly coincidental. My name is Michael Diamond, and for tonight's game, I will be your keeper. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Old Ways podcast. I'm your keeper, Keeper Michael, and we return to horror on the Orient Express. We have quite a bit to get to tonight for you. We have quite a fun one in store. First, though, we're going to get to introductions. So, to my right.
I'm Mike, and I'm playing James Robert Fraser. I've just sat down for a nice cup of tea.
Indeed, you did. To Mr. Fraser's right.
Hi, I'm Rena, and I play Lady Elizabeth Fitzroy, and I feel like my reading is about to get interrupted.
You could be right. At the end of the table.
Hi, this is Giles, and I'm playing Simon Griffith. And at this point, I am just relaxing and looking at my book on Greek.
Could be very useful in the future. To Simon's right.
Hi, I'm Miranda, and I play Maggie Bellinger, who is very scared right now.
Why? I can't imagine why. And last but most certainly not least.
I'm Martin, and I'm playing Richard Courtney, and I'm just, gazing out in front of me. Everything seems fine.
Indeed it does. And so we return to our story on the Orient Express, where the heavy footfalls of a rather large gentleman begin to get picked up by the rest of the party. So several of you heard over the din of the rest of the folks here eating. There's probably about 10 or maybe 15 or so people in the car. You heard someone get up and say something to the effect of, "No, I'm going to have lunch with my friends." And it's probably at this point where Maggie gasps as a very large gentleman, one you saw recently in Lausanne, makes his way down the dining car towards you. You'd seen a version of his face from your time in this dreamlike other world, where he proposed himself as the prince and recently had one Edgar Wellington on trial.
Yes, and I would be kind of like hitting Lady Elizabeth, like tapping her, and like getting everyone's attention to see so they can see that he's here. We didn't make it out.
Please don't touch me. I find it most inappropriate. What?
He's here. He's coming this way.
Oh, good lord.
Who are you referring to?
There's too many witnesses around. He can't do anything to us here.
I wouldn't count on it.
The footfalls stop. Richard, you feel someone staring at you.
I'll turn around.
It's like being back in university and feeling someone stare at you from behind. It's unsettling. You turn around and you see the aforementioned Duke standing, taking up the majority of the walkway there.
Richard will just turn round and face Maggie and Lady Elizabeth, saying nothing.
Hello. Good day, Mr. Duke.
I'll be brief. Ladies, gentlemen, you'll excuse my bluntness. I want the scroll.
What scroll, Your Grace?
I want it now, or I will destroy you.
You feel the train shake.
It's hardly appropriate language to address to a couple of young ladies.
A lesser? I'm happy to address you any way I like.
Oh, are you now? Fascinating.
Come.
He puts his hand out.
Give it to me.
Oh, are you speaking of that scroll that you were planning on buying off of Mr. Wellington?
Yes.
Oh, yes, well, on our way out of town, as we were packing up, we heard something horrible happen to him.
How unfortunate.
Yes, it's a shame. I'm sure. What do they do in these areas? That is, goods will be auctioned off or something. Perhaps we can purchase it there.
Enough banter, Miss Belanger. The scroll. I won't ask again.
Well, I certainly do not have it.
I find it very strange that the men here at this table have barely the tongue to speak.
If there was anyone here worth speaking to, I'm sure we would find a tongue to speak to them.
Is that true?
You, sir, would do well to go and sit down, mind your own business. Demanding things of us which do not belong to you and you have no right to, making threats to us, those threats will not be received lightly, sir.
I've seen barely a whisper from most of you. You have the scroll. It is here.
And what is it to you whether we have the scroll or not? What kind of a man are you? Who do you think you are, that you come here, you make these demands, you make these threats, threatening to destroy us? I've never heard the like. You're a deluded man. Now, go back to your own business and stop wasting our time. I have a nice cup of tea here which I wish to drink before it gets cold.
Do you? It should be very hard to drink that tea with no hand.
Make me a power roll, Mr. Fraser. Opposed.
Oh my.
Here we go. Okay, my power is 55. And that is a fail, and I do not... well, I do have enough luck, but I'm not going to use that much luck to make it a success, because that's an 83.
Ooh. Yes, that's quite a bit of luck. You are free to push the roll. If you'd like a little description before the push, I'm happy to give it to you.
Yeah, I think I will, actually. When he makes this threat, Fraser stands up, turns to his feet, and takes a step towards him with just the words, "I am warning you, sir. If you make so much as a move against any one of us..."
Okay, go ahead.
And that is a success. 46 under 55.
Very good. It's an opposed power roll, so his power has to be taken into account.
So normal success then.
Correct, normal success. You feel your knee buckle in excruciating pain. Simon and Maggie, the two of you that are closest physically to Mr. Fraser, hear a significant and hearty pop from his knee.
Guard! Guard! I'm being assaulted!
You take 3 damage.
Okay.
I'm happy to let you stay to your feet because I think you're a fairly strong man. You've also got 2 tables to the left and to the right of you to hang on to, but you're going to have to grab one of them because you feel your knee totally give out.
Absolutely, yes. I will grab whichever side, then whichever knee it is. I'll grab the table to that side to try and support my weight.
We'll say it's the left side. The Duke has not made a single movement.
Lady E is going to stand up and draw herself up to her full, about 5'3" height, and stare down her nose imperiously at him. Well, Your Grace, you may have the advantage of title, but as my beloved mother, herself the daughter of a duke, once said, a title is no judge of nobility, and any man who would attack a servant or anyone in a lesser class than himself is truly an inferior being. Stand down, sir.
No, not without the scroll.
You're not getting it. Standing there making a scene ain't gonna make it any better.
Truly.
Indeed. You may be accustomed to bullying your way around Europe and other people, but I assure you, you cannot bully me.
The staff begins reacting to Mr. Fraser's shouting. So members of staff are coming from the non-smoking section into the smoking section, and there are people even from the staff areas, the kitchen prep areas, that are beginning to kind of look out and see what's going on. The Duke, of course, is a very large man, and so he takes up a lot of potential real estate in the area.
I raise my voice in that way people of an upper class do when they want to be heard but don't want to appear to be shouting. Is it customary, where you come from, for members of the nobility such as yourself to threaten others, particularly young women, in public places?
My dear, do you know a thing about the nobility and its history? We have been threatening commoners for ages.
Yes, well, I'm hardly one of those now, am I? So you will kindly betake yourself to your own carriage.
Will I?
Yes.
We shall see about that.
As soon as I see any of the staff approaching, I'm just going to shout, "This man has assaulted me! He has kicked me in the knee! I think he's broken it!" I'm pointing at the Duke. "Somebody call... Is there some sort of security on this train?"
The Duke levels his gaze at you, Lady Elizabeth, and you feel an overwhelming desire in your stomach to vacate anything you've put into it. And you'll make me a hard power roll to not do so.
Power is pretty good, so... Mike, I rolled a 1. I think that might be my first 1 in this whole show.
Congratulations.
Woo.
It's a critical success. You hold your stomach fast, although there is definitely the burbling that comes along with the feeling that you need to expel everything. You don't know where the sensation comes from. Obviously, you can draw your own conclusions, so you should but there is definitely a churn inside of you. You feel like you've been attacked.
Mike?
Hmm?
Could I glance around to see if there's anybody else in the car that could be associated with the Duke?
Yeah, if you'd like to make a spot hidden roll.
Maybe doing something to support him? No, I'm not going to spend luck on this. I fail.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there are tons of people around. There are now more people coming in from the non-smoking section, 2 staff members who are behind Mr. Fraser. They're behind Mr. Fraser trying to basically help him back to his feet. They're concerned about him, but again, they're just staff. As far as the passengers go, it doesn't look like anybody's right now willing to intervene on your behalf. A lot of people are staring at what's going on.
So as I fight off that feeling and just keep staring at him, I'm going to move forward as if I'm going to move past him to my compartment, and I'm going to, because I'm assuming he doesn't move, stab into his foot with my walking stick. Oh, excuse me, you seem to be in my way.
Sure. That is a fighting brawl roll.
Which is probably not going to go very well for me, but...
Do it!
You know how karma is. You rolled a natural 1 last time, so...
It's true, I'll probably get a 99 now or something. Oh, I did not. I got a 09.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Dice Karma. I'll
So
probably pay for
I
it
would
later. That's a hard success.
If you're actually going to stab down to do damage, which is your intent, it's going to have to be fairly directed visually, right? So it isn't just a, hey, I'm going to do some damage to you. Lady Elizabeth's going to have to really put something behind it, visually speaking, right? So if you want to go ahead and roll, I don't know.
Stab in foot with walking stick.
I'd give you a D6 for it. I mean, you're really trying to damage him. Knives are
4.
fairly... Okay. Yeah, you and the Duke come fairly close. You come up to him, and then you rack him on his foot. The man doesn't move. He doesn't react. He looks down at you rather strangely. Because remember, the Duke is clear 6 foot plus, so he definitely looks down. And he seems to almost smile, like a wry grin. And then you hear him say, "Pathetic."
Yes, I know you are. Thank you for acknowledging what the whole room already knew.
Opposed POW, please.
Oh, God. 10.
Okay. Yep, he beats you on that.
Oh, wow.
Given his POW. So you're...
He beat me on an extreme?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
His POW is fairly high. When he says pathetic, it rings in your ears, and as it does so, you feel something inside your head get a little gelatin. And then there is a pulse that goes through your brain, and you feel your head like swell outward. It's like having a massive racking migraine that lasts for an hour happen in the span of 3 seconds. It's so vicious and vile, it runs its way down your back and into your spine. You could feel your body twist and move in ways that it should not, almost as if you're a caterpillar for just a moment or two.
I imagine that makes at least one of my joints slide out, considering they slide anyway.
Yep. It also means you take about 7 points of damage.
Ouch.
At this point, the staff area where you were going to pass through by the kitchen and the service area leading to your compartment, you see 2 men come from that direction. in staff uniforms. And they start asking people in the opposing seats to get out of their way because they're trying to get to Mr. Fraser. The two from behind have already gotten to him, and they're trying to get him off his knee and get him into somewhere comfortable.
I'm all right. Don't worry about me. It's this man here. Restrain this man. He's assaulted me, and I believe he's causing harm to her ladyship. There, look at her.
Is Lady E still standing?
He's threatened us and assaulted me. I wish something to be done about it immediately.
I'd like Lady Elizabeth to give us a con roll.
Yeah, that's not my best stat.
Mm-hmm.
I do imagine during this, there's this like strange moment where Maggie and Richard are just staring at each other, like direct eye contact.
27. Yeah, 27, which is a regular success. I will spend 2 luck to make it a hard if I need to.
You tell me, do you want to spend it or not? No more free information.
Evil.
Worth.
Yeah, I'll spend the 2 luck because I don't like this man.
Nor should you. You hold fast. You have to put your cane out in front of you and really lend a lot of your weight onto that phoenix top of the cane. And you try to push yourself back up to your normal, pleasant stature. It is very difficult, though, through the pain. But you manage to not fall over. The Duke puts his arms out as if to show that he's not holding any weapons.
I've touched neither of them. I've been assaulted by this woman and her cane.
Look at my knee. Look at my knee. You think this just happened on its own? He kicked me in the knee. I have witnesses here that can attest to that. I'm in a great deal of pain, and this man is the cause of it. I want something done about it, and I want something done now.
I'm going to get up and try and push past the Duke like a bodyguard, like stick my arm to allow Lady E to pass him. My size is 70.
Yeah, no, I know you're a fairly large individual.
I mean, I may not be the Duke size, but...
Yeah, the Duke is slightly larger than you, although not that much larger. The Duke steps to one side and allows Lady Elizabeth to pass, with refusing to curtail the wide grin on his face.
And I will escort Lady E back to our chambers.
Sure. You are having to use the strength of Simon to get you there, that's for sure. Because moving your legs, especially your hips, right now, very difficult, Lady Elizabeth. The staff come in behind the Duke, and they filter in past him as if to be a barrier between your group and him. And one of the staff members kind of pays attention to what your group is doing. The other one turns to the Duke and begins basically in a semi-non-threatening way telling him to go back to his table. We won't have any of this business. This isn't allowed on the train, that sort of thing. Fraser, the 2 staff members that look over you, one of them tells you that he'd like to look at your knee. He's concerned about it.
Of course, yes.
They set you on the train on the far side of one of these chairs. They turn one of these chairs and then move the other one out just a little bit, so that way they can sort of make a makeshift bench. And then he begins to look over. I'm sorry, sir. It does not look good.
I know, I could have told you that. The man he started threatening us, and then he lashed out. And I don't know what is wrong with him. He's a bully, and I don't wish him to be allowed anywhere near any member of our party for the remainder of the journey. And I would very much appreciate it if you'd call the local law enforcement as soon as we reach the next station.
Of course. The staff assures you that they'll definitely call law enforcement if there's been an issue, and obviously if there is. They'll take statements from everybody that is in the car.
What's the Duke doing at the minute?
He's standing back where he was sitting before, just watching. He seems to take out a pocket watch and stare at it.
Did Simon see anyone that appeared to have been with him? I know he was looking.
He failed the roll, unfortunately.
Okay.
Sorry, failed it.
So, Simon, you're walking Lady Elizabeth back to your area where you guys have a couple of those sleeper cars set. As you move through the train in this area, Lady Elizabeth's having to go at a very careful pace. Even with the cane, you can tell that she's laboring. As you get into the hallway, at the far end, what you see down there is a gentleman that's coming out of her room.
Excuse me, sir. Were you lost?
Is he wearing a fez?
He's not wearing a fez. He does not. He turns to you and sees the two of you, and you ask him if he's lost. And he doesn't say a word. And he bolts down, or begins to bolt down the hallway. And you can see in his hand is this relatively large, hard scroll case.
Pardon me, ma'am.
Off to do your work, Mr. Griffith.
I pursue.
Okay. I guess let me know what your move is, and we'll kind of work through it in that regard.
9.
Okay. So you are really fast in comparison. What's your dex?
Dex is 80.
Okay. So you'll go first, and then you're moving to intercept, I would assume?
Tackle.
Okay. So I'll say that you and him will get near this seat here, right before the turn to where the bathroom is, before the next sleeping car. And that's when you'll get a fighting brawl or a maneuver roll to tackle.
Sounds good.
Go for it.
And I'm going to use my special ability.
Okay. Which special ability are you using, sir?
Heavy hitter.
Okay.
And I am not going to spend the luck on that. It's a fail.
He is going to continue to work. What I will say, though, is he's a little hampered because obviously you tried to tackle him. So he won't get his full move by any means. Lady Elizabeth, what are you doing?
I'm going to make my way to my room slowly because I'm not going to do anyone much good trying to run after this guy because I can't. And I also want to see if I can determine which version of the scroll was taken.
Yep. So you're going to be able to get about halfway or so to your room, so you get right about here because you're a little bit slowed at the moment. It's pretty clear to you, Simon, that this guy has no interest in having any sort of direct encounter with you. He's a much slighter man than you are, and he's clearly running for his life.
I fully intend to pin him as hard as I can to find out who he is, who he's working for, which we probably already know, and get the scroll back.
Yeah, I'll say that the two of you are going to move roughly around about the same speed because you're going to have to, after a tackle, kind of get up and get your feet under you to keep moving.
Right, I staggered, obviously, when I missed the tackle.
Yeah, but you're faster than he is, so you'll be able to make up some of the ground. You guys will get right near this water closet before you'll encounter him again.
And if I hit him hard enough, we go into the water closet, right?
I mean, listen, the toilet is a real weapon. It could be used.
It is. Okay, that dice is going away. So that is another fail. It's
okay.
It's not a fumble.
That's good. He gets to the end of the line here and opens the door to get out onto this terrace area. It's this protected area between the trains. And it looks like he is mounting the ladder.
I'll keep after him.
Okay. And Lady E, you get down to your room. And when you open your sleeping apartment door, you see that there is another gentleman in your room. So you open the door, and there's a similarly dressed man in your room.
I'm going to instinctively, I think at this point, hit him with my cane, scolding him for being in a lady's room. Like, how dare you, sir? Excuse me, what are you doing? This is highly inappropriate.
Okay. That's hilarious. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's what my upbringing would tell me to do. Okay. A regular success versus a hard success doesn't make any difference in fighting rolls, right?
No, not in those types of fighting roles. Like, if it was a bladed weapon, you could get impales on extremes and stuff like that. But
Okay. Because I rolled pretty decently, but it was only a regular success. So
okay. He ducks. It's quite possible this man's been this man has been beaten at by a woman before. He seems to be well for it. Yeah, he ducks. On his action, he's going to reach out and pull the door closed.
While I'm standing in the doorway?
Yeah.
Or am I in the room?
No. Well, you're standing in the doorway, and so his plan is to reach beyond you and close you in the door space with him. He's going to get up close and personal with you.
All the better to stab you with, good sir.
Since the door was open and I'm about, 15 feet down, 20?
Uh-huh.
Could I make a listen roll to see if I hear what Rena said?
Yeah,
Hear me berating him?
That I will give you the listen roll. That's fine. Go ahead, roll it.
No.
So he very deftly reaches through basically the space that your right arm and your body has, and he gets, quite frankly, a little uncomfortably close to your body, but he doesn't touch you. He reaches beyond you, and you hear the door slam shut. And then he basically takes a step back because he probably doesn't want to get hit.
What are you doing in my room?
Yeah, he doesn't answer you.
Well, I'm going to try to hit him again then when it's my turn.
When in doubt. So I want to ask, as far as Mr. Fraser, Maggie, and Richard go, Fraser's being attended to.
Mm-hmm.
No one has called for Paul yet, but that may happen at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I was just wanting to ask you, actually, Michael, is Paul in his in his room just at the moment?
Yes, he is.
So, in theory, he'll hear all this shouting and commotion going on in the corridor outside and in Lady Elizabeth's room.
That is correct. I mean, it's only been maybe 6 or 10 seconds or so we'll give Paul just a moment, but absolutely he'll be able to react to some of this stuff that happens. I guess my question to you, Maggie and Richard, are you continuing just to have your meal and pay attention to what's going on with Fraser, or are you doing anything else?
Well, I contemplated asking Richard to escort me back to my room, but I would now hate to leave Fraser here alone.
Sure.
So Maggie might get up and not get in the way, but kind of be around what's happening with Fraser, just to make sure that he's okay. As long as there's a crowd around him, I think he'll be all right. And I trust Mr. Fraser to be able to handle himself if me and Richard need to get out of here and make sure that there aren't any goons up to no good.
If I see you kind of sort of hovering around, maybe looking to see if I'm all right, I'll try and attract your attention and get a quiet word in your ear to say, keep an eye on the Duke. See if you can see if he has anybody with him. I don't think he's acting alone. Whatever it is he's doing, whatever it is he's about, there must be he must have people with him. He can't be here on his own, surely.
Now the Duke is still here with us, right?
Yep. He's 2 tables away now, kind of casually watching what's going on.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll stay and casually watch the Duke then. Just eyes like daggers on him. Both mine and Richard's.
Okay.
What a frightful beast. The man is a tyrant. I've never seen anybody do quite that.
Absolutely dreadful.
So, back to the other car. Simon, you did not, you didn't see what happened, unfortunately, to Lady Elizabeth. But that's okay, because you still have one opportunity left to sort out with this gentleman who's evidently stolen something from her room. He has mounted the railing there at the back of the car, and it looks like he's kind of trying to wait for the best opportunity to leap.
To leap off the train?
Yep.
Oh, I'm going to definitely grab his ankle.
Okay.
That's a hard success, 20 under 50.
Very good. You grab his ankle, and he turns a little slightly, and he is going to have to make a dex roll to see if he can stay upright. That's a 93. So you grab his ankle, and when you do, he begins to unsteady himself. You can see he's going to fall.
I'm going to whip him back into the car, like just swing him.
Okay, you grabbed him, so I go ahead and give me a strength roll. And I'm going to put you at disadvantage for this, as the fates have decided.
Okay, that was a 19, and that's an 09. So 19. That's an extreme.
Yep, you whip him back on, and so you basically pull him with the leg, and then you yank him back onto the train platform. When you do, obviously he falls onto this platform area. So what I want you to do is not roll damage, but roll your strength bonus.
That's 2.
Okay. Yeah. He hits pretty hard, but you can see that he's scrambling already to try to get back up.
Well, I still have his ankle, don't I?
Yeah, but it doesn't mean he doesn't get to try.
Okay.
You can hold his ankle all you want, but he has another leg and 2 arms, so...
He does, but I'm going to kick him in the jimmy while I got him.
Well, you've just taken an action to pull him off the rail, so we'll wait on that.
Okay.
Lady Elizabeth, this gentleman in your room steps back as if he's worried about something. Like, that was his first action from the cane. But he's going to take his action at the beginning of this round, and he is going to pull a pistol on you.
That's hardly gentlemanly now, is it?
Give me a psychology roll.
Oh dear. I think I improved that one last time.
You might have.
So hopefully it's good enough. Got a 38, so I'm going to spend 2 points of luck and make that a success.
You make a calculation just off the way he's staring at you with the gun. You don't think this man's a killer.
Now listen. I don't know what it is you're doing in here, but I don't think you want to be stuck in this situation any more than I do. And you're hardly going to help your case if someone comes in here and you're found holding a pistol on not just a young lady, but an actual member of the nobility. So if I were you, I would, what's the phrase, swan off.
He says, step back, out into the corridor.
I'm already against the door. I can't step back any further because you closed it.
Damn it. You hear a voice from down the hallway. Lady Elizabeth? You hear Paul's voice. Is everything all right?
Seems we've backed ourselves into a corner, haven't we?
Open the door. Open the door.
Why?
Because I am getting out of here.
Really?
The gun goes off. That everyone will hear.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a 75. But
don't tell me someone hands have faded me in this one.
Not this time.
Oh.
No, you don't need to make a dodge roll because he's just absolutely piss poor with a gun. But what you do need to do is react to getting shot at, because that's what happens.
So I think when the gun goes off, I've never been shot at before, and I'm just taken aback at the audacity that someone would actually shoot at me. I expect my ears are ringing from the close proximity.
Yes.
How very dare you? And I'm going to try to thwack him on the head with my cane.
Very good.
Because I don't think she's the kind of person who would duck. I think she's the kind of person who would just be so irritated that someone would actually shoot at her that her natural reaction would be to hit them.
Yes, you're probably right. Go ahead.
That is a 2.
Ooh. Okay. So go ahead and roll
Lord.
damage. I don't think Lady Elizabeth has a damage bonus, but if you do, please
I
include
don't.
it. Okay.
Is it just the one with the extreme, or do I get something else?
Oh, yeah, it's just the one that
Okay.
damage isn't doubled on an extreme with
Okay.
a blunt weapon.
But that is full damage. That's a 6. The dice gods like me tonight. Like, excuse me.
Make a luck roll.
Oh no.
Yep.
After I just spent luck.
Yep. Oh, you bet. That's the best time.
I hate you. Okay, 26 under 56.
You're not the first investigator in this game to say that. So you hear the chunky thwap that the cane makes when it comes upside his head, but the cane seems to hold fast. I want the folks in the dining car to react with the rest of the people who are in the dining car who hear a gun go off.
I say, did you hear that, Maggie? I wonder if that was Simon.
Yes, are there train guards still about? Something. Did you hear that? There's something horrible happening on this train. Clearly, someone's shooting a gun now.
So the two train guards who are here, one who was watching the table, the other one was kind of making sure the Duke was in his position. The one that is closer to the kitchen area at that doorway, he immediately turns and begins moving down the hallway, like at a very fast pace. The other one stays here.
Mr. Fraser is struggling to get to his feet, to get down the corridor to make sure that Lady Elizabeth is okay.
Okay. Yeah. James, what's your move?
My move? Well, I don't know if my move has been affected by the fact that I've just been smacked very hard on the knee, but my move is my normal move is 7.
Okay. So your move right now is 5. So you are able to, if you're intending to move in that same direction, you get about to where the Duke's table is.
Cast him a dirty look as I go past.
He accepts it with the same wide grin as he accepted all of the ribbing from Lady Elizabeth. Simon, you're holding on to this gator as it flaps back and forth trying to get away from you. What's your intention then?
To subdue, incapacitate with one well-placed kick.
Okay, so you're going to kick him very hard in somewhere very uncomfortable.
Exactly. That's a fail, so my kick doesn't go anywhere in a good place. It's a 65 over 50.
Okay. Yeah, you kick at him. He's going to roll over and kick back at you because that seems to be in order for the day. That's a 19. So would you like a dodge on that or a fighting back?
Fighting back.
Okay, you get 1, so.
Failed.
Okay. You take 4 damage.
Okay.
You get kicked. You think you hear a gun go off. You're not sure. Lady Elizabeth, you start hearing some rather rapid pounding on your door. Are you okay? Is everything all right? It's Paul.
Do come in, Paul.
I would, but it's locked.
I'm still holding my cane. Is the guy... Has the guy dropped his gun or holding his head?
He has not dropped his
anything?
gun. He's still shakily holding it in your direction. You can see that the previous shot has gotten him a little more wrangled.
Yes, well, are you sure you want to try that again?
Paul's going to make a strength test.
I've moved closer into him because of the hitting him with the stick.
Okay, so you move a little bit closer in because you're trying to still keep him in good range for another proper walloping. And you hear the door to your cabin burst open. And behind you, you hear Paul's voice go, "You put that damn gun down."
I love Paul. I'm so glad we kept him.
And the man pulls the trigger. Yeah, he really is just terrible at firearms. But he is point blank.
Classic bad guy.
That's right. No, he's just shit. I mean, I rolled a 63, and then I re-rolled the 10s die because obviously he has advantage, and it's an 83. So he's really bad. He fires again, and this one passes through the cabin, out past Paul, and lodges itself in one of the train walls. And Paul goes, "Ah!" and ducks out of the way. Lady Elizabeth, in the back of your hearing, would start hearing really, really heavy footfalls in the hallway.
Can I try using my cane to hit the hand of this guy to try and see if I can get him to release the gun?
Absolutely.
Okay, before I roll, I need to know, can you spend luck on Fighting Brawl? You can't push it, but you can spend luck on it.
You can spend luck on any skill rolls.
Okay. I'm going to spend 5 luck on that because I don't want to die. Not yet.
Okay. So you, yeah, go ahead and roll me some damage.
Oh my goodness. That's a 6.
Okay. You hoist your cane up into the air, and you line up the heavy kind of phoenix crown of that cane with his wrist. And when you come down in this vicious arc, you hear a pop. And the gun clatters to the floor, and you're fairly certain that something is broke. And he crumples to the ground, painfully crying.
Just stay there, won't you? It'll be so much easier for you.
Lady E is a beast.
You don't even know. You don't even know. This isn't even her final form.
I can't believe the dice are letting me succeed on fighting Brawl of all fucking things.
So in behind you arrives a man in the Orient Express uniform, and he immediately kind of steps in and says, what is going on?
This, I hesitate to use the term gentleman, attempted to shoot me. Twice.
Reaches down onto the carpet and picks up the pistol. Mr. Fraser, you're beginning to hobble your way down the hallway there. The guard bags the pistol and he seems to make some sort of adjustment to it just to make sure it's not going to fire again. Maybe that's some sort of safety. Lady Elizabeth isn't very well schooled in the art of firearms. You're not really sure what he's doing. And he then grabs the man by the back of his jacket and pulls him to his feet, almost as if he's a sack of potatoes.
Yes, would you mind removing this offensive object from my sight?
Yep. So, Fraser, as you arrive, a gentleman gets tossed out into the hallway here by one of the Orient Express guards.
What's going on? Lady Elizabeth, are you all right?
Oh, some ruffian tried shooting at me. I think I broke his wrist.
Is this the fellow here?
Yes, this is him.
Right, you young laddie. You're going nowhere. Stand right there. I've got a few questions for you. Where's Mr. Griffith?
Fraser, you smell gunpowder.
Shots been fired. Are you sure you're all right? Did you raise your hand? Did you point a weapon at her ladyship? You little shit!
Backhand him.
The Orient Express security guy just kind of lets you do it. He doesn't really care. He doesn't seem to put up much of a fuss unless you're going to incessantly beat him.
No, it's just a cuff. You know, it's like you would backhand a mangy cur.
Yeah, there's a significant and pleasing slap sound as the two pieces of flesh come together at the perfect angle. The guard nods at you and says, We'll keep an eye on him and keep him under lock until we get to Monroe.
Oh yes, I have a few questions to ask this young gentleman. We'll soon get to the bottom of this.
Paul appears behind you, Mr. Fraser, and seems to kind of poke his head around the corner a little bit.
Ah, Mr. Maverhaven, you've missed all the excitement, I believe.
No, I was shot at too.
Really? Good Lord. Has anyone seen Mr. Griffith?
No, I don't think so.
You went off in that direction after another ruffian who was in my chambers. So many men in my quarters, this isn't normal.
Simon, you are still kind of trying to batter out this man here. Fraser, I assume you're going to head that way?
If I'm sure that Lady Elizabeth is all right, yes, I shall hobble down the corridor towards where they go.
You hobble that way a little bit. She seems okay. It looks like Paul is here, and pretty soon the train security and the gentlemen are removed from the space.
I will actually try and speak to the train security before he goes and says, keep a very close eye on this one. I don't believe he was acting alone. I'm pretty sure he was in the employ of the gentleman that broke my knee a few minutes ago in the dining carriage.
Yeah, my eyes won't leave him.
Thank you, good man.
Simon, how are you dealing with this man?
I want to end this.
Okay. In what way?
I have his ankle. He's struggling. So the easiest way to at least prevent him from escaping is probably just drop on him. I'm going to try and kick him in the head. I want him out.
Okay. I mean, it's fighting brawl. He's going to try to dodge because he doesn't want to get kicked in the head, obviously. If I'll say this much, if you're going to stand up and kick him in the head, if that's the idea behind it, to try to drive him into unconsciousness,
Yes.
I don't know that you'll be able to hold onto his leg at the same time.
Well, he's still got the scroll in his hand.
Yeah.
Can I kick the scroll free?
Sure, go right ahead.
Okay. I am spending luck. That's a regular success.
Okay. You kick the scroll free, and now I'm going to have you roll luck, and we'll see what happens to it.
And I fail by 8.
Yes, you should have played football at Yale or something. You give the scroll a heavy kick, and when you do, it goes up and over the railing and off the train. And your quarry is going to try to stand up and get to his feet.
But that was the fake scroll.
I mean, you don't really know, right? Not yet?
Yes, well, no, I do, because he came from Rena's chamber. And I know which chamber the real scroll's in.
But you don't know how many other chambers he's been to before he was in Rena's chamber.
That's very true.
This is true, but you think if he saw a Tommy gun, he'd be so happy?
Better arguments left for other times. So the two of you are still a bit squared off. He gets to his feet, and it's really about that time as you're kind of recovering from kicking it that Mr. Fraser gets to the doorway and can see, it looks like Simon's engaged with another one of these men.
I will attempt to lend a hand in that case.
Okay.
Try and grab hold of him. I'm going to try and restrain him, basically.
Okay. Yeah, you get out onto here, and the two of you can kind of share a bit of space as you try to get your claws into these folks. So that's fighting brawl from you, Mr. Fraser.
Absolutely.
He gets a bonus since I'm already engaged, correct?
Correct. Yep. That's how you tackle people. You gang up on them.
Alrighty, okay, we are brilliant, even better. Okay, I'm not the best pugilist in the kingdom, but I'll give it a shot, and I get a bonus die as well. Yeah. So that would be an 82, but thanks to the bonus die, it's a 12, which is a success.
Well,
is he going to try and evade it or fight back against it?
No, sir. The Hand of Fate is not going to allow him any sort of roll. He's just going to have to take it.
Smashing. Okay, so my damage bonus, D4. So I'll roll my D3 and D4. So that's 5 points of damage in total I do to him.
Yeah. So you definitely give him a good solid whack.
I'm rather than doing that, I'm more trying to grab him and hold him so that Simon can repeatedly punch him in the stomach if he wants to.
Yeah, so you reach out and you grab a hold of him because he'd really had only factored having to fight one man, let alone two. And in his moment of indecision, you get a good hold of him and basically slam him up against the outside of the train, clearing the way for Simon to engage him in a rather terse physical manner.
And I'm going to try and keep a hold of him as well. That's going to be my sort of tactic in this particular punch up.
All right, so the Griffin Gym Show is back on. So please continue.
Giving him a good old solid stomach punch, thanks to Jimmy here, Jimbo, and the scalpel and fist is again working, and that is an 7.
See, the two of you need to work together more often. So yeah, go ahead and roll damage then. Yeah, is that extreme for you?
Is that extreme?
Yes, it is.
So that's just maximum damage. Then you do. You don't even need to roll.
Well, it's more than that though. It's max damage plus it's heavy hitter. So heavy hitter adds on top of that. Yeah.
Oh, bloody hell.
And then I also get my damage bonus.
Correct. So why don't you total it all up and tell me what you've got, and we'll see if this man survives this punch.
So that was max damage of 3. Heavy hitter doubles it, correct?
Yeah, so you could choose to spend it or not, up to you.
So 7 points of damage on top of the 5 that he took from Fraser, on top of the 2 he took from hitting the... so he's at 14.
He wilts. One good swift punch to the solar plexus, and he crumples like a piece of the professor's university paper, just like that.
First thing I want to do is check to see if he's alive or dead after that mighty blow.
Of course. We'll give that just a
Yeah.
moment.
Sorry,
We'll put a pin in there. That's okay. You'll get your chance, trust me. So with the rest of the investigators gone, the Duke steps back over, especially with there only being a lone train guard here.
Uh-oh.
And he says,
Seems that your compatriots are a little busy.
Yeah, it'd be my guess that whatever you came here for, you probably already got.
Be that as it may, I'll be keeping an eye on you.
he looks directly at you, Maggie.
I find you fascinating.
You can see like the different palette colors of the like his flesh. Like there's definitely something strange bodily about him. Something's not right. You didn't probably catch it in Lausanne during the tour because you were doing a ton of other things. But even as his like hands move around as he talks, or you see his face and neck move, there are different like layers of flesh to him.
Richard just gives him an evil stare, disapprovingly.
Sorry, a bit of indigestion there.
It's probably the food.
Maybe. Well, I hope you have pretty good eyesight if you plan on keeping track of us.
I do.
He goes back to his table and picks his valise up. So he has a valise case he picks up and brings back over and opens it up. And you see him take out a length of rope, probably about 12 to 16 inches long. And he does a really quick coil, almost something that you might have seen back in the States with ranchers. And he coils it a couple of times and then uncoils it and makes a circle. It's the strangest thing. And then he hoists it above his head and he lets it fall over his body. And as it does, he completely disappears, as if he was never there to begin with. And the two of you make me sand rolls.
My word. 18.
Good.
Let's see here. 36 under 64.
Did you take note of the exact shape that he had the rope in before he dropped it? He seemed to twist it into a shape and then let it drop.
Well, I can try to remember, but I think it may have... I think there may be more to it than just twisting a rope.
But part of it, maybe. If you can remember, maybe you could sketch it down, and I'll put it in my notebook.
Yes, okay, I will make some notes, but we should probably go check on our friends as well. I'm not sure if you heard that gunshot.
Oh, yes, of course. I was just thinking of the transportation. I mean, he's gone somewhere else, and if we could do this... Yeah, but yes, we should check on them.
Well, I'm sure he'll be back. I fear for whoever crossed Mr. Griffith this time.
If the two of you just kind of move out a little bit from the car seating area here and into the standing hallway, you notice that there is a very small piece of wood that would normally be a part of kind of this backing railing here of the chair, and it has been completely and perfectly sheared off.
Sheared off as in possibly by the rope?
Quite possibly.
Would you look at that, Richard? He seems to have taken a piece of the train with him.
The possibilities for this thing are endless. You could use it to cut or transport or... if I look down at the floor, has it taken a bit of the floor away, or is that intact?
It is intact, although that there is a light film in a circle at the bottom.
Look down there. It's affected the floor as well.
Yes. Well, I don't believe this is the last that we'll see him. Perhaps Lady Elizabeth has read of something like this before, and she could possibly... We should tell her about this.
Back out on the outside of the train, you two are making sure that Simon hasn't killed another person in another country. You're just going to check him over, Mr. Fraser?
Yeah, absolutely. And if I need to, I'll employ some first aid.
No, I don't think so. You're a smart man. You know how to check a pulse. You know how to make sure that someone's still breathing. He seems to be, although his breathing is definitely labored given the the damage to his chest and likely lungs. There was maybe you didn't hear it over the running of the train, but there was a significant pop when Simon hit him.
No, okay, yeah, so maybe he's broken a rib or two.
Serves the man right?
If I I have absolutely no sympathy for this fellow. If I think that he's not in imminent danger of like bleeding out into his lungs and choking to death on his own blood, then I will hog tie him, and I will get the attention of one of the train guards as well to have him carted off to.
Just for clarity's sake, hog tie him with what?
Ah, right. Well, I'm sure there is going to be a like a curtain rope somewhere in amongst all the.
Sure.
Or at worst comes to worst, I'll pull a sheet off a bed and I'll use that just to tie his hands behind his back.
Yeah. So you go into back into the train and you grab a curtain rope that's easy enough to get a hold of. And you come out with the curtain rope, and you see another one of the Orient Express security men here, and he looks at you a little puzzled. Is everything all right?
Another one of these reprobates in league with that chap that assaulted her ladyship. We've managed to incapacitate him for the time being, but I think you should bring him down to where you're holding the other one.
Indeed. Show me to him, sir. I'll take care of it right away.
Aye, I'll help you. I'll help you with him. He's unconscious just now.
Oh, well, that's helpful. So, train security comes out, Simon, and with you and Mr. Fraser, you kind of help him get this gentleman into. It looks like they have an unused room here that is for what they call unruly guests. And while there aren't any, bars and whatnot, they do have benches along one of these converted berths that has places where handcuffs are, and they cuff this gentleman next to the other one. And you can see that both of you can see that there is a seat for what would normally be a conductor's seat to watch the hallway. There's one right outside that room. And after this man is effectively locked up, the staff security sits right down in the chair outside.
So I'll speak to the security who's watching him. Well, I would say keep a close eye on these two. There may be a rather large, well-dressed gentleman who comes by, perhaps looking to. He may seem innocent and not anyone to be troubled by, but. It is my opinion that these two gentlemen were in his employ. He is a very unpleasant fellow indeed. So if you do see such a man, watch out for him. He may try and trick you into looking the other way while he removes these two from their incarceration.
Now that we have someone in the car, we'll have men watching it until we reach our next stop.
Aye. Will you be taking it in shifts until the next stop is reached? I'm more than happy to lend a hand if you wish.
Jim?
Oh, no. This is perfectly within our control. We should be at the next stop in the next... He looks down at his watch. 45 minutes.
Hey, Jim.
Aye, Simon, aye.
We need to get you back to Paul. Your knee ain't looking well. He needs to do something about it. At least bandage it or put you in some form of splint. And we need to check on Miss Lady E. So... let's go ahead and head back, take care of all that, and then I'll double back here. I have to tell you something anyway.
Right, okay. Very well. Aye. I'll just cast another glance at this guard. James is currently of the opinion that he's not 100% sure who to trust. So I don't know if a psychology roll or something like that would be of any value, just to make sure that this chap is.
Yeah.
He thinks this chap is actually going to do a good job guarding the.
You want to take the measure of the man, as it were?
Yeah, that's the kind of thing. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. Go right ahead.
Okay. My psychology is not brilliant. It's 40, but better than nothing. That's a fumble.
You feel like it might be best if you stuck around here. You're not too sure. He seems a little bit too easy about that next stop at Brig before the Italian border.
I think I'll just stay here and keep you company for a wee while. My knee's not so bad, Simon. It'll mend itself. It'll be all right until later on.
Jim, sit yourself down, and I'll send Paul down. Let me go back and check on everybody else. I have something I have to look in on.
Aye. That's a good idea. Aye, do that. Thank you, Simon. Thank you.
So Maggie and Richard, you make your way down into the hallway where your compartments are, and the hallway smells like gunpowder.
It smells like Simon's been here again. I can smell gunfire.
Yes, I smell it as well, though with that noise earlier, I expected it.
I hope he hasn't killed anyone again.
Well, we should find him just to make sure everyone's okay.
Okay. I mean, the first birth you're going to happen upon is probably your own, Maggie, which the door looks a little worse for wear. And is that... Oh, my. Paul seems to be sitting with Lady Elizabeth with his bag like open, trying to ferret out something from inside. I've got something here, I'm sure. Bad headaches, pain, that I have a tincture or a liniment or...
Oh dear, is everything okay in here?
Well, I got shot at. Oh, the audacity.
Well, did they hit you?
Oh, no. Of course not. He seemed to be quite an imbecile.
Well, I hate to say it, but the Duke has, he made his exit.
Ah. Pity.
Yes, he literally disappeared in a puff of smoke. He made some very strange shape with a rope and dropped it over his head, and he was gone, and it took some of the surroundings with him as well. It was, bizarre.
I don't trust that he's no longer on the train necessarily, and I think he could be back to haunt us at any time.
Yes, well, that sounds like quite an interesting bit of magic work. I'll have to see if I can find anything on that. It would be quite useful to have ourselves, actually. No, Paul, not that one. That one makes me sleepy. I don't have time for sleeping right now. A little less strong, please. Something.
Oh, I like to make sure that you're taken care of.
Yes, I do appreciate it, but I have work to do.
You see that your coach area here, Maggie, is beginning to quickly turn into a chemistry experiment.
Was that the only gunshot then, the one that we heard?
No, there were two of them. He shot at me twice. Well, once was at both me and Paul, but as I said, quite an idiot. Surprised he knew which end of the gun to point at us, to be quite honest. I'm sure Mr. Fraser or Mr. Griffith or both of them have taken the matter in hand. Saw Mr. Fraser go by a few moments ago.
Oh, so he's up and moving about then?
Yes, he's not one to let a knee injury keep him down when he has things to do. Quite an admirable trait, really.
It's very efficient.
Well, perhaps we should go make sure they're all right then.
Feel free to move down the hallway if that's what you'd like. Simon, you were going to come back up, yes, to check on some things?
Correct. I'm first coming to the compartments to make sure that Lady E is fine, and then I'm gonna...
That compartment's already pretty well packed at this point, so when you come up the row there, you'll see that Maggie and Richard are, or at least Richard is nearby, because I assume Maggie would go in, because she sleeps there, or at least in the next berth over that's connected.
Yes, I was thinking I should check on my room, too, to make sure everything is okay.
Oh, what could be in there? Oh, right. Yeah, go ahead.
So I'll enter into my room to look around and see if it's been tossed.
It does not appear to have been tossed, no.
Has it been slightly ajar?
Well, why don't you make a spot hidden roll?
Okay. 39 over 31. I'll let it slide.
I mean, maybe. Who knows what happened during the movement back and forth with Lady Elizabeth and this person who came in here. Maybe somebody pulled the door handle. It wasn't exactly as firm as you remember it, but it wasn't clearly left open.
Yeah. Do I still have the arm?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
You still have your arm. Yep.
It wasn't magicked off of me.
No. Poof.
Well, then I don't care about much else. I might while I'm in here checking things out, maybe if I imagine Maggie occasionally carries a flask, so that she can like take a little drink, because this has been very stressful. We had to race to this train after a trial, which I was the defendant's attorney, and then race on a train, and then confronted by the Duke. I'm tired. I stressed out. So I'll have a drink, and then we'll go look for Simon and Fraser.
All right. So Simon's not too terribly hard to find, as I assume after he checks to make sure things in his room are as he left them. He's going to want to check on you and everybody else. Simon, your room appears to have been violated.
Okay. And the trunk?
Go ahead and give me a spot hidden roll.
God, no.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they got to the trunk. It looks like they tried to pull it out, but maybe they didn't have time to go through it all the way because the bottom is still securely intact. Are you going to check what... I'm assuming you're going to confirm everything in the bottom.
Oh, yeah, I'm also going to make sure... Yeah, I'm going to lift off the false and make sure that the red candles and the Tommy and...
Yep. All your toys, all of your wonderful toys are still available to you.
And the scroll?
Still there.
All right, I put everything back, and I'm going to make sure we get an extra lock at the next stop, maybe 2. Add extra straps to the trunk just because we can.
Okay.
And I'm going to send Paul down to check on Fraser.
Yeah, that's where he's headed. So he is going to, before he leaves with you, Lady Elizabeth, he's going to make a medicine roll. Yeah, he does okay. So over the next hour, you'll heal a point of damage.
Yay.
But that said, he tells you to stay put. No more beating anyone with your cane, respectfully.
And tell them to stop pointing guns at me, and I shall.
I'm not here to argue with you, lady. I'm just telling you physical exertion, especially in your case, is a bad idea. I'm probably not the first physician to tell you that.
Yes, I know. I'm already feeling quite tired, actually, now that he's out of here. I think I shall have a sit, and if you see a steward, could you send him with some tea?
Of course.
Thank you.
I'm going to go check on your Mr. Fraser.
Ah, yes. Please do.
So, Mr. Fraser, you're sitting with this guard who is doing his best to be genial enough. He makes light conversation, that sort of thing.
Yes, I'm going to engage him in a little bit of small talk, just to see if I can trip him up.
Sure.
Just in case, that he does have an ulterior motive for quote unquote guarding these two men.
I think try as you might to kind of ferret out if there's anything additional that he might be hiding over a period of, say, probably takes about 5 or 10 minutes. Kind of draw back a little bit on your first impression of him. Maybe you weren't giving him an honest read, because he seems quite genuine. He talks about how long he's been a part of the service, about their commitment to quality, their commitment to involving the proper authorities when things like this happen.
Mm-hmm.
You also hear in that time that from another gentleman, part of the staff security, comes over, and you overhear that the large gentleman that was part of this dining car situation he's disappeared. They can't find him.
Disappeared? No longer on the train?
The guard turns to you, kind of half in conversation with the gentleman you're talking to, and half with you, and says, "Oui, monsieur, we cannot find him. He's too large to hide, but he is not on the train."
I mean, I would imagine that if somebody left a train moving at this kind of speed, the chances of surviving would be fairly minimal.
Sadly, we've had people who do this, but no. It's very difficult. Switzerland is, of course, filled with many rocks.
Aye, indeed. I'm going to take a look. Is there a window into this cabin that they're keeping them in? Is there like either a window or a window in the door or anything like that I can kind of keep an eye on?
A small slot window. It's not a true like prison slot window, but you can tell that it was fashioned to keep their view of the exterior hallway down.
Yeah, I'm going to look into this room. So, am I right in thinking that it's just like a compartment that these two men are being held in, and we're sitting outside it, or are we sitting in with them?
No, you're sitting outside of it. It's like, imagine they took a single berth.
Yeah.
They removed everything inside of it and just made benches and places for people to.
Okay, I wanted to look in on them just to see what they're doing in there.
Well, one man seems to be mostly passed out.
Mm-hmm.
The other man, the first man, the one that they pulled from Lady Elizabeth's room, he looks like he's an emotional wreck.
Gentlemen, would you mind if I had a few moments in private with these gentlemen to ask them a couple of questions? You of course, are more than welcome to join me or to watch on from outside. Don't worry, I don't mean them any harm. Not for the time being, at least.
They kind of look at each other. Provided there's no physical contact, we should be all right. Just a few questions.
Of course not. Of course not. No.
The authorities will have their opportunity. I promise you.
Indeed, yes. Strike while the iron's hot, though. That's my old mother always used to say that.
Yeah, they open the door.
So I'll kind of limp in, and if there's anywhere to sit across from the chap that's currently conscious, I'll sit across from him.
You can sit kind of down on a different bench. It's not directly across, but you can shift your body. Although the shifting on that left knee is really difficult.
I'll just kind of look him in the eye. How old does he look?
18, 19 maybe.
Any distinguishing marks? Anything I can tell from the way he's dressed about what his kind of social class might be or anything like that?
He's probably from a lower or lesser class. His clothes don't fit terribly well. The jacket he's wearing is maybe a little bit too large for him. Not entirely well kept. His hair is probably a little bit longer than you would think it should be. Shoes are not in any way, shape, or form in proper fit or fashion.
I just want to spend a moment just observing him and seeing what his body language is telling me, whether he looks frightened, whether he looks angry, whether he looks kind of steely and determined.
No, you've seen a man shaken in a time of combat. You've seen someone lose their resolve. And he has equal portions of that lost resolve with equal portions of being just frightened.
Well, young man, you've got yourself into a wee bit of a pickle, haven't you? You speak English?
He looks up a bit, yes, You can hear the French form of his accent take over.
Your friend here is out for the count. What's your name, son?
Benji.
Benji. Well, Benji, would you like to tell me just exactly what you were doing in the private quarters of Lady Elizabeth?
He struggles a bit against the bindings. He's clearly not used to them being attached. Maybe it's because he speaks with his hands. He's that sort of a person, but he kind of gives it a quick yank and then puts it back down and says, I don't know. I was paid to do a job and I failed.
Paid to do a job, you say? And who was it who paid you to do this job?
He looks down at the floorboards.
Come.
I cannot risk saying.
No, son. You're only going to tell me something which I think I already know. So, there's no harm there. There's no breach of trust there. If I was to suggest a name to you, a look or a nod would give me the answer I need. You don't have to say anything.
Maybe you give me a name.
This is where I try and remember what this guy's the Duke of.
He was introduced as the Duke, right?
De Essin.
So his full title is technically Duke Jean Floresas des Essentes. It's a really long, but Duke Essentes is mostly what he is called.
If I was to say the name the Duke de Ascentes, how would you react to that?
He sits upright, and he looks around.
What are you looking for, son? He's no eyes in here.
You can see his eyes kind of dart back and forth around the room. I don't even speak his name.
Well, you no need to. You've told me what I need to know. This man, shall we say, this employer of yours, he hired you in Lausanne, yes?
Yes.
Yes. How did he find you?
To the war, there are a lot of the jobs dried up, and so we make money any way we can.
This man here, he's your friend, your a relative, brother?
I don't even know him.
But you were working together with him on this job.
He nods.
Just the two of you anymore?
Just the two of us.
He paid you well to find a certain item and remove it from the train?
We were going to be paid.
So you didn't even have the common sense to ask for some up front, eh? Just took it on trust from a man in a fancy suit. Aye well. So tell me, how were you to pass over this object which he had promised you payment for?
We were to take it from the train, and we were to make our way off the train by any means, whether it's the next stop or if we had to leap and then make our way back to Lausanne, where we were to turn it over.
Leap? Leap from a moving train? Are you mad, man? Nobody survives a leap from a moving train. Have you seen how fast this thing goes?
He starts to cry.
Oh, what have you got yourself into? Listen, son. Where were you supposed to meet him?
His estate in Lausanne.
And you would pass over the item, and he would give you payment.
1,000 francs.
1,000 francs? Well, high payment indeed. And was there any other wee job that he asked you to do, or was it simply to retrieve the one item?
Retrieve it by any means necessary.
I see. Aye.
I didn't mean to shoot at her.
But you did, son. But you did. And it's lucky for you that you missed.
He keeps crying.
Listen, son, I know things can be hard. If you've nothing, if you've not got 2 pennies to rub together, you'll take any job offered, even if it's something like this, which I think you know in your heart. If I'm any kind of a judge of a man, I can tell that you know in your heart it was wrong to do this thing. But I understand that hardship, poverty leads a man to desperation. But you stand up. You stand up when your time in court comes. You tell the truth, tell everything, and, well, if I'm able to, I'll see to it that you get a fair trial, a fair hearing, and a fair term. As for your friend, well, I can't speak to him. He's not been able to make a statement for himself.
The train staff, the security gentlemen, kind of give you a bit of a gesture and wave and ask you to come out.
Yeah, that's fine. I've kind of learned all I need to learn from him.
They lock the door after you exit, and then they assure you that in short time that they'll be in Brieg and offload their prisoner to the local authorities.
Yeah, I'll say to them as well to go easy on the young lad. He's scared. He is very scared to give over the name of his employer, but it seems to be that this is an act of desperation. Can't speak for the other fella. Don't know what his motives or his manners are, but this young fella seems to have just been led astray by the promise of a great reward for a service, which a fair trial and a fair hearing.
Paul does come and see you, Mr. Fraser. He will be making a first aid roll on your knee.
Thank you, Paul.
Paul did pretty well. Actually, that's a hard success. He wraps it back up, kind of in a bit of compression, and says, "You need to get off that knee. Quick."
Aye, I know. I'll go and have a wee sit down. I'll just check on her ladyship, make sure she's all right, and then I'll have a wee sit down.
She is well medicated. I want to go to Maggie and Richard because I want to know, after you check on everything, are the two of you beginning to or continue to go through your stuff, or where do you feel like your quota is for the episode?
I think Maggie's plan was after making a quick once over her room to make sure everything was there, also making sure that everyone else in the group was okay. So probably, I think we had planned on finding Simon and finding Mr. Fraser, making sure they're okay.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like Fraser, for the most part, has pulled through, although it does look like his knee is probably going to swell. Simon, I would imagine, at some point after checking over his things, makes himself visual again to recheck on everything with the three of you in Lady Elizabeth's compartment, and he seems to be in order. So it seems, anyway, that most of you have survived the encounter. The question, honestly, is probably prying at least Maggie and Richard's mind is, what in the world happened to the Duke? Where did he go?
Yes, I was thinking that after we make sure everyone's okay, because I feel like I kind of rushed Richard away from the area, that we might go back for a nightcap, even though Miranda, don't know what time of day it is. A nightcap just sounds good, regardless of what time of day it is right now. And then we can kind of combine what we saw to make any notes that we need to that might help Lady Elizabeth figure out if she's ever seen anything like this before. So we'll kind of combine our observations and write down and make notes and such.
So if you were looking for a drink for this time of day, it would be probably something like a mimosa, because you're going to pull into Brieg at about 9 a.m.
That's why mimosas are great.
Right.
I'm
just letting you
in
know.
the
Who
morning.
doesn't
I'll have
like
a
a
nightcap.
mimosa? It's not a nightcap. It's a morning start. It's a jump start to the day.
That's correct.
And who doesn't love a good mimosa? Light on the OJ, please.
I'll keep that in mind. Professor, are you doing any sort of further inspection of the area?
He definitely wants to find out whether his money is still in the briefcase.
Okay. You check over your things. Why don't you give me a spot hidden roll?
I'm going to join everybody else. That was a 95.
Oh. Yeah. Money case looks good. Everything else looks good. No issues.
So after I've done that, I will wander back to the bar where I'm sure Maggie will be. And I'll probably politely see if I can get Maggie a drink, get myself one, probably tea.
I think Maggie's going to beat you to the drink in that regard, sir.
Yeah, you get back there. She already has a mimosa.
Right.
No, very good. And probably sniff around the area that's been affected by the Duke's rope and see what I can see.
Well, if you're sniffing, you're smelling.
That's
not
true.
seeing.
It is still a spot hidden roll. But yeah.
I will probably also smell.
We'll have to take some samples with us.
That's a 64, which is just about... Oh, well, that's a fail.
Okay.
Bleary-eyed from the morning.
Sure. Yeah, it was an early start for all of you.
Yeah.
So yeah, the wood especially is interesting because it looks like it not only severed that kind of half corner of the chair, but it went straight down, just like a mill would do, like a mill saw would do. And it not only did that, but it also almost burned and blackened that portion of the chair. And the staff at this point notice this and ask if they can replace the chair, please, because something's happened terrible to their chair and they want to make sure that it's corrected.
I know this might sound a little strange. Would you mind if I could you arrange for the chair to be removed to my quarters? Would that be okay? I'm keen to study this.
To your quarters?
Yes, my stateroom, I believe.
Oh, I'm not so sure that we would do that. This is obviously been damaged, although we're not sure how. Do you know how this was damaged?
No, not entirely. I would like to find out what happened to it. It was the large gentleman that was here. I'm keen to study it.
Richard, why don't you make me a persuade roll to see if you can persuade the Orient Express staff to let loose one of their chairs.
Come on. Oh, 31. Perfect.
Okay, so is your persuade 31?
Oh no, persuade is 50.
Oh,
Richard's a demon at persuasion.
Wonderful. So yeah, you convince them essentially that they shouldn't have to worry about the chair. Just take it to your room. It'll be fine. You'll have it back in short order. It'll be okay. And then you kind of just yes them in a really strange and reasonable way into just doing what you want. Maggie, you watch Richard in action, and he's low-key smooth. And you didn't really realize how smooth until now.
Mm-hmm. I was just thinking that same thing. How persuasive he seems to be. It is very impressive.
He can charm a chair out of anybody.
It does make you kind of wonder. It almost seems to kind of clash a little bit with the stuffy professor thing going on. It's strange.
Yes. There may be more to Richard.
Indeed, there may be. But we will have to get to that in another episode. So thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Horror on the Orient Express. I hope you loved it because I had a ton of fun. And we will get back with you next week